Hi, I'm Izzy, also known as Royal Valkyrie on Instagram. If you haven't followed me already, you should definitely check it out. I make edits on YouTube and Instagram, although I've basically moved over to Instagram at this time. I started out editing over 10 years ago on YouTube, and I've never regretted it since. I'm going to be uploading some tutorials over the next couple of months to the next year. 2021 is my year, I say with crossed fingers. A lot of people wanted some tutorials, so here I am making some tutorials. I'm going to be doing some beginner stuff and I'm going to mix in with some advanced stuff, so hold on if you're waiting for some of the advanced stuff. I know a lot of people want to know how to do cool things. I'll also be dropping some links to other editors who have done absolute God's work of uploading programs and plugins and presets. I'll be linking them all below to those helpful videos. Yeah, here we go. So first off, today we will be learning how to do a basic zoom scale transition, how to render your videos, how to preview your videos, and how to import your compositions. We're also going to be learning how to use Creator Studio to upload your videos and all of that good stuff. You're going to really need it if you're beginning and you want to look professional. You're going to be flying. You're going to have thousands of followers in no time. Trust me. I'm a digital marketing student. But yeah, anyway, here we go. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do when you are in After Effects is ignore my project at the moment, but you want to have your settings up here to work with your computer. So if you have a lower end computer, and when I say low end, I don't mean like $25 from the freaking $2 store, right? I mean like even like a MacBook. I have one of the newer MacBooks, and luckily it has made my processing a bit faster, which is great, but I still, if I don't want to have a wait time while it's playing through, which is called rendering, then I need to put the resolution over here on quarter. So that basically means it'll cut the resolution of your playback screen over here down to cut it into a quarter quality. That's basically all that means. If you have a higher end computer, you can try half or full, but I kind of go between quarter and full depending on if I want to view the full project. When I've like finished an edit, I'll play it through on full, but if I'm in the middle of editing it and I still want to make some changes, I normally edit on quarter. And then down here, this is your preview bar, which you'll see the same thing, which says full, half, third, quarter. This is basically the same thing, except this will do is your kind of little timestamp thing here. I don't know what you call it, but yeah, timestamp. I'm gonna call it a timestamp thing. Play bar, that's it. So basically, this play bar, wherever this is, this will change the quality of that one frame that it's on. So for example, I've got it on full and Michelle is looking beautiful, pause and all. But if I put this down to a quarter, you can see it gets a little bit more blurry. And sometimes I put this on quarter, but I normally leave it on full because if I'm masking or if I'm rotor brushing, if you have it on a quarter quality, it won't register the same way. Especially with rotor brushing, you always want to have it on full for rotor brushing, but we'll get to that in a later video. This is just the basics. So basically, when you're making a composition, when you want to start a video, you start on this thing which says new composition. My settings, I like to have either at 1080 by 1080, especially if I'm doing a picture edit. The pictures just seem to fit the screen better on a square. But if I'm doing a video like my normal settings, I normally put it on 1600 by 1080. Now I know that's kind of weird for most people. A lot of people do 1080 by 1920, which is basically a standard movie screen or TV episode screen size, so something that you'd watch on TV. but I like to scale it down a little bit just because it fits the Instagram proportions a lot nicer and you can see the screen a bit better. Like it just enlarges it. It takes off the width a little bit. So the only thing with that is you might need to, you know, mess around with the cropping, and you might need to mess around with where it's anchored and the position and stuff, but it's really not that bad. I mean, in the long run, it makes it look really good. Especially with editing on YouTube, I would keep this at 30 frames per second. I have edited on YouTube in 60 frames per second, but I get motion sick from them. So I would recommend keeping that at 30 for YouTube. If you're on Instagram, otherwise, I would stick with anything of the frame rate being anywhere between 30 to 60. I normally keep it at 30 just because I don't really see any change. I mean, I know some people do, but I like to keep it at 30. And that's kind of what I've been using for the past year and a bit. I used to be a 60 frames per second kind of gal, but yeah, so I've changed. So this will set up your comp, and you can name this whatever you want, like, I don't know, Michelle. No, what's her name in the show? Miranda. There we go. So now I've got a composition. Basically what else you can do alternatively is you can just import your video file into your composition. This is how I used to do it, where you just put it in and then, you know, mess around with it. But another really easy thing to do, let's just get rid of this composition. Say you're back here, but you've imported your video file. You just drag it in, and then you've got it. And then you want to go up to composition. You can't see it on here because it's kind of chopped off the top of my bar, but if you go up to composition in your menu bar and you go to composition settings, you can do the exact same, which this is what I normally do, because if you drop your whole file into After Effects, it'll automatically make your composition the exact length of your video. And the way I like to edit is I like to chop all of my scenes together in Final Cut Pro. I'm sure you can find other tutorials on how to do that. It's pretty simple. And I would suggest finding people who have made scene packs. Alternatively, if you have a show that isn't really popular, downloading a full episode or full movie isn't bad. You know, you can get really full quality stuff outside of scene packs, but scene packs are pretty good. Like for this, I had to download full episodes because no one edits this show. It's just me. But anyway, so we've got our edited together thing. We've got all of them here, and as you can see is this composition. This is just the video file with all of them edited together from Final Cut Pro. So what I like to do is I like to skip forward, and I just do this on Mac. I don't know how it is on PC, but on Mac you hold down Command and you use your arrow buttons. You can go 1 frame. If you want to skip, I think it's 5 frames, you hold Command Shift and then you use your arrow buttons so you can kind of go a little bit further. I use this a lot. This is my little scene skipping thing that I use a lot. So once you've reached the split between your clips, so this one and this one, these are 2 separate clips. I like to go to the beginning of the second clip. So not the end of this clip, but the beginning, the first frame of this second clip. Then what I do is I hold Command Shift D, and that'll split your clip. You don't have to use all of these key commands, but I definitely recommend using them because it'll speed up your work stupidly. And you'll get really used to them, believe me. I got used to the key commands within about a week and a half. So then we're going to skip with Command Shift and the arrow. So Command Shift and the right arrow. I'm going to skip towards the second clip. And then Command Shift D to split again, and I do this all the way along my project. You can get really fast with this, which I have in the past years, but make sure if your hand kind of cramps up, give it a rest, because I've also been known to do that. To extend the audio, remember that this all has your audio. I like to copy and paste this first thing, and that's just by doing Command C and then Command V. That's to copy and then to paste. And then we stretch this along. This is going to be our audio. And you just do that by clicking the end of the clip here in the project. And then I turn off this over here, which is the visual and audio. That's on, off, on, you know, I just turn off the visual. So now we've got all this. Make sure to turn off all the audio on the other one as well, just for good measure. So now you've got all your clips cut, which is so fun. So I'm going to show you how to do a basic transition. Now a zoom in is really basic, really simple, really standard. Every editor uses them and they use them differently. So I'm going to show you the two different ways. I'm going to show you the first way, which is just with scale. So you click on S on the keyboard and it'll bring up scale, this over here. Now when you bring up scale, this is the thing over here, this little kind of clock stopwatch thing over here. This is called a keyframe. So what you want to do here is click the keyframe at the start of your clip, move a little bit. I'm going to go to the end of the clip. And you can go to the start and the end of the clip by pressing I to go to the start and O to go to the end. I and O. Believe me, again, you'll pick up these really quickly. Don't feel like you should be rushed to learn all this. You will learn it. Make sure you can come back to learn all this. I'll put all of the information in the description of the different key commands so you don't feel too overwhelmed. So when you've gotten to the end of your clip, by pressing O on your keyboard, you press this little diamond. This makes another keyframe, okay? And a keyframe, it's basically an animation key point. It's hard to explain. It basically means start and stop an animation. It gets one animation, point A to point B. So basically, this keyframe we're not going to mess with. This is where we want it to end up. This is the screen that we want to see when we end up on the last keyframe. Then we're going to go back to the start of our composition where our first keyframe is. And then we're going to go back over to the scale bit over here. And we're going to click on this. You can type in a number, like you can go 400 and it zooms in. Another thing I like to do is you can drag it so you can really get some detailed zooming. Then what we want to do, this is the fun bit, okay? You can leave it here, right? And it just zooms out, but there's no real motion. It's not smooth, looks chunky, you know, it's not someone that you want to see. It's like the ugly stepsister or something, you know, she's okay, but she's pretty ugly. So to make this smoother, and this is where the glorious power of After Effects comes in. So what you want to do is select both of your keyframes. Then what you want to do is go up here, where it's got like this little thing that says Graph Editor. So basically we're going to go on a graph, and this may look really daunting. Don't be. Please do not be turned off. It's again really simple once you learn it. As someone who came from Final Cut Pro over to After Effects, I looked at this and I kind of went, nope, this is too hard. But you got to persist, right? Watch lots of tutorials, not just mine. Go and watch someone else's tutorials as well, because everyone has a different way of doing it, and you won't know what you like to do with your editing or what your editing style is until you've seen what other people can do and you find a way that's easy for you to edit. So this right here is a graph. This basically controls the motion, the speed, the value of your motion of your keyframes. So basically what you want to do first, select both of them. So it gets this white box around them. That means that you've selected both of them. You can also individually select them. Just make sure that the yellow box is selected, so then you know that it's been clicked on. But basically what I like to do is I like to drag this, and then you press this over here, this button. This is called Easy Ease. Easy Ease will be your friend, your enemy. No, actually, no, she won't be your enemy. She's never let me down. She will be your friend till the dawn of time. So now you've got these little kind of like lever things that you can move around, right? You go on into here, you go on up here. So this controls the first keyframe up here, and this controls the last keyframe over here. Now to move this, I've got this on value graph. You can change it to whatever. There's another one called speed graph, but we'll get into that in a little bit. The value graph I use all the time. Value graph, basically we'll change the value. I don't actually know what the difference is with value graphs. I know a speed graph controls the speed, but I actually don't know what a value graph does. It's basically the same thing, but I like using the value graph more than the speed graph. I know other people are different. Again, this is something for you to work on your style and your way of editing. Now, a basic zoom out. So in this case, we're going from this clip to this clip. This is our transition right here. If you want to zoom out quickly, this is the graph that you want to do. You want to move this down here. It doesn't really matter where you put this, you can kind of mess with this, but always make sure that it is vertical, like this. And then this one you want to keep horizontal. This one you can be a little bit more lenient with. You can make it completely horizontally flat, or you can tilt it a little bit if you want to have a little bit of excess motion at the end so it can kind of fade out. But my favorite one I like to do is this one. So basically both of these little levers meet, or close to meet, doesn't really matter, but you'll see what I mean. So I'm gonna go from here. See how it zooms out? Isn't that nice? So another thing here that you want to remember to do, especially if you're doing scale zooms, you want to click on this little button up here, which has like kind of 3 circles. Click on that. This is important. This will be your life savior. This is motion blur. This will make sure that your zooms and your motion and everything that you do in this will be super smooth and there will be no choppy bits. So if we play it again, see how much smoother that is? I'm going to turn this off now just so you can see. Off, on, off, on. It might not look like a lot, but it really saves your butt in the long run. Now, something else that you want to do is your other transition. So of course one transition can't blend into another without having two. So we've actually done our first transition here, and I hope that was pretty easy to understand. I try to make it as easy as I can. I'm not a teacher, but I try my best. This is our transition out. This is our transition in. So basically this is the same thing. We're going to click our keyframe here. I'm going to click our end keyframe here, but this time we're going to go in. So this is our end keyframe and this is our start keyframe. Remember to click your motion blur to make it nice and sassy smooth. Adds a little bit of spice. And then you want to do completely the opposite. So keep this one vertical and keep this one horizontal. But your graphs should kind of look like this is going up and then the other one goes down like this. So it kind of looks like it's a big mountain or a pyramid or something. The pointier, the faster, and the smoother basically. So basically I'm just going to put this up here and this is what it's going to look like. And there you go, you've done your first edit transition. It's pretty fucking cool. So now I'm going to teach you another way to do it. If you want to have a smoother transition, you basically do the exact same thing, except you don't use scale. So for this example, you want to find this plugin called Sapphire, and it's pretty accessible. You can find tutorials on how to download it on YouTube. Just make sure you download it from an editor and a trusted place. I get a lot of mine these days from a girl called Renee on YouTube. I'll link her plugins and all of her things down below if you want. So basically this is the exact same thing, exact same graph as how we did in Scale. But what we're going to do here is we're going to do it through a plugin called Blurmo Curves. And I use this religiously. This is going to make your edits go from a 5 to a freaking 20. So you want to start at 1 or 1000. Go to your start of your clip, press Z dist. This is basically scale in this version of the plugin. You want to go to the end of your clip and then you want to drag it to where you want to zoom in. Right? Exactly the same as what we did with the other one. We're going to click on Easy Ease, same thing as we did before. And then we're going to create our transition out as we did before. Now with this one, this is a little bit more, I don't want to say violent, but this blur in can be quite fast. So you want to mess around with this. You can kind of put it down here, you can move this down here so it's a little bit more slow, do whatever. And then you want to create the one going out, so you click on blur mode curves again. I'm going to put this at 0.2. Then the end keyframe at 1. Again, that's kind of your base standard scale default. I'm going to make another one here. So now your edit will look like this. Super smooth. You can do a lot of other things with this, especially once you know how to keyframe. We've got other things like rotate, which basically just rotates your screen. We've got shift, which goes right and left, up and down on shift Y. There's a bunch of stuff you can do, and the graphs all basically stay the same for this kind of slow in and then fast pump out. Use the same graphs on everything, especially with like rotate and shift X and shift Y. So example for rotate, if I do the same graph, like literally the same, I'm not changing anything. And then we put another one on this one. Let's kind of chuck this at like, I don't know, 91 minus 91. Vertical, horizontal, and you've got a rotation. See that? Beautiful. So basically just that graph, that pattern in the graph, this is going to save your life. This is one of the things that you kind of need to know. One other thing I'm going to teach you today is how to upload. Now, there's multiple ways on how to do this. So this is just the base clip that I had for my edit that we were just using. So one way that I would do after you've rendered it in After Effects, mind you, the way to render is pretty easy. So you finished your clip, go to File, Export, Render. You can go down to Lossless, change the format options to ProRes 422, that's kind of basic for me, and then you can kind of change where the output goes to, you know, whatever you want to do, and then click render. Then once there's a blue bar that goes across here, once it reaches the end, you're finished. You should find your file in your documents or your movies or your external hard disk if you have one. So pretend that this is the clip. We've finished this edit, even though it's a base edit, we've finished this edit and we want to upload it onto Instagram. My first way of doing this is if you have an iPhone, you can do this thing called AirDrop. So if I turn on my phone, it's got me, this is me, click on that and it'll send it to your phone. It'll say waiting, and it should send to your phone. That should be pretty damn easy if you've ever done AirDrop before. Another way to do it, this is really good because it works on Windows and Mac, and I use this personally myself. So there's this website that you can go to called Creator Studio, and it's a Facebook run site. It'll have your Facebook and it'll have your Instagram. You want to click on your Instagram. Well, first of all, you want to log in. Make sure that you have a business profile, I think it is. I think you have to have a business profile to use this, but that's pretty easy. You can go and look up a tutorial on how to change it to a business profile and all that. But basically what you can do in here is you can upload your content straight from your computer. This also doesn't just save you quality, it saves you time. You can schedule your posts. You don't need to airdrop it to your phone. There's nothing bad with it. So you can see all of these are my edits that I've uploaded. So to post and edit, you press on create post Instagram feed. You can also do an IGTV, but you know, write your caption, blah, 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 you know, whatever. Put a location if you want. You can add your content. So I'm going to put this in. There's your video. Do not press play on this little preview bit. That's when I've noticed, that's when this Creator Studio kind of glitches out and cuts the audio out. So just, if you want to preview your video before you post it, go back into your Finder and preview it in your Finder window, because this racks it. I don't know why, don't ask me why, I've just noticed it. You can tag people here. I'm going to tag one of my friends, just for example. So you can tag her, press save. You can do all the same things you can in Instagram on your phone. But the really cool thing is you can select a cover image, which is a lot easier through here. You know, you can pick, I don't know, this one. You can also choose a video frame, which is like what you can do on Instagram. But the best thing about this is you can also do a custom upload, which I've been wanting this for yonks. I'm just going to chuck in something that's completely unrelated, but I can put in something like this. So this image, this is a wallpaper. For the sake of example, I'm going to use this, and you can upload it as a cover image. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Just make sure that the custom upload image that you upload is the same size as the video file that you are uploading. So if we use 16,000 by 1080, you want to be uploading a cover image that's 16,000 by 1080. Because I've noticed if you choose a cover image that's different, it'll cut off edges or make it stretchy. It'll look weird. Just trust me on this. I've done it. I've done it so you don't have to do it. And you can press publish. I'm not going to publish this, obviously, for obvious reasons. But yeah, it's pretty damn simple. And those are kind of the basics on how to edit and upload onto Instagram with After Effects. I'll be making a part 2 of some basic things that you can do, basic transitions, basic effects and whatnot. But this is where I'm going to be leaving part 1, and I'll be making part 2 very, very soon. I hope you enjoyed this. Please let me know if you want more, what other things you want to see. I will be going into more advanced things like these edits, but please let me know what you want to see, what kind of tutorials you want, and yeah, thank you so much for watching.